Today we're taking a look at how to build a portable barbecue out of a number 10 can. Guys, a while ago, Grant had a video where he showed how to make a bitty barbecue. That was a barbecue made out of an aluminum can. It's also one of the projects in the 52 Random Weekend Projects book. And we today wanted to try scaling that up a little bit. That's a cool little thing, but it's pretty limited on how much you can cook. And while we're still going for about one person cooking at a time, we're gonna try and scale it up to, maybe something we could put a steak on, or a hamburger, or a few hot dogs at once. So today we're gonna be taking a look at how to make a one-person, maybe two-person barbecue out of a number 10 can. Here's the basic idea. A number 10 can is a fairly standard size for a lot of different types of food. We're gonna try to scale up the bitty barbecue from a while ago to see if we can make a grill that can hold a little bit more than a single hot dog. Before I get started on how to make it, I'm gonna take this one, get some charcoal started, and that way hopefully by the time one barbecue is finished, we'll be able to start cooking on the other one, or maybe it'll actually already be time to eat. As we film this, most of the world is in quarantine, and a lot of people have been stocking up on food and buying food that you can stock up with, and it comes in this size of can a lot of the time. This is what's called a number 10 can. It's pretty standard. They use it for lots of different types of food, and they're made of steel, which is nice. There are a lot of people who are using these types of cans, and it's nice to be able to reduce, reuse, recycle. So we're going for the reuse in this case. So if you've got one of these cans and you're planning to pop it open, maybe you want to make a barbecue out of it. I will say that you want to open it in a slightly different method. Normally you take a can opener, cut the whole top off, and get your food out like that. We don't want to do that. What we're actually gonna do is start by using a can opener to cut halfway around the circle. And then we're gonna bend that back, and we're gonna pour all of the, in this case it's mandarin oranges, whatever you happen to have in your can, we're gonna pour that into this bowl. We can transfer it into other containers and use it later. Our grill, as you can see, is fairly thin. The actual part where the meat will be in contact with it. It's so thin, it's not really gonna hold a lot of heat, and a lot of the time with a good steak or something, you want to heat that up so it sears as soon as it hits. Get a lot of that good caramelization. This won't hold a lot of heat. It may not even sear very much, but we are just gonna let it sit on here and heat up however much it can. Our charcoals are doing great. Gonna let them keep going until we have a little bit more even gray on there. Then we're gonna throw our steak on. This is a fairly low amount of charcoal to generate enough heat to cook a steak, but I'm hoping that because it's so close, all of the heat from that charcoal is gonna go right into the steak and get it cooked pretty nicely. It's probably not gonna be the world's greatest steak, but that's all right. So now that we have these half circles cut in both ends, what we want to do is actually take this entire top right off. I'm gonna be using a pair of tin snips for this. I got these at Walmart for like $4, not expensive, and they cut through this metal beautifully. So I'm just gonna give myself a bit of a guideline of where I'm trying to cut. In experimenting, this first cut is the weirdest one because there's not really a great place to fit these tin snips down into the can. But what I found kind of works is you just push down the lid a little bit, and my cut with my can opener went about ½ a centimeter beyond the halfway line, and I think that's pretty helpful for being able to start with this. So I'm just cutting through the rim first. That's the hardest part to cut. And then I'm going in at sort of a weird angle just to get that started. And once it is started, I have more space as the can flexes and kind of moves out of my way. Right now is a great time to take some sandpaper or a file and really try and take off some of the spiky edges. This first side that I cut, I definitely made it a little bit rougher than I needed to, and I already managed to stab myself once with that. So I definitely want to take those off. This is working out great. So we're gonna add some feet onto this. We're going to add, obviously, a grill. We're going to add some hinges that let this open and close. And then we're gonna add a handle on the front so we have something that we can grab onto without burning ourselves. Oh, listen to that hiss. Tiny, tiny hiss. Legs. For legs, we're using these 4-inch heavy-duty peg hooks. Normally for pegboard walls, goes into 2 pegs, rests like that. Great, well, we're gonna be using pretty much the same idea. So we're going to do, for each of these little pegs, we're going to drill 2 holes into the can, pop that in there, and have it just rest up against the can. Oh, look at that. Not bad for cooking on a can, we need to add some hinges to our lid to keep it in place. So I've just got, these are from Walmart, tiny little hinges, and they come with screws, but we want to use nuts and bolts. So we've got these bolts with the nuts. These are about the shortest ones they had there, because you really don't need much. You're just going through a couple thin layers of metal. Pretty much the same idea as with the feet. What we're just going to do is take our hinges, line them up, make a little mark with the Sharpie, drill the holes that are just the right size for the bolts. We're going to do all 8, so we're going to have 4 on the bottom, 4 on the top, drill all of those holes, and put it together. We're also probably going to trim back the metal a little bit. When it opens, we don't want like these corners running into the sides of the can, so we'll trim those off just to try and make it open a little bit smoother. We might even trim all the way down, just like a couple millimeters or something, make it all go a little smoother. Okay, I think what we need at this point is to add a handle to it so we can open and close it whenever we want without having to worry about if we're going to burn ourselves. For the handle, what we're going to use is 2 of these little L brackets, 2 more of these nuts and bolts, and then to attach them to a piece of this wooden dowel, we're just going to use a couple of screws. Choose wherever we want to put it. I would also recommend the corners of these brackets actually stick out just a little bit above our dowel handle. So if you have a file, I'd recommend taking them down just a smidge. This is a cookie cooling rack I got at the dollar store. It cost $1. And what I like about it is that it's pretty easy to size. Like I can make it bigger or smaller by cutting it pretty easily. Beautiful. And one other modification I'm gonna make. Right now this works great, but I don't want it to be able to slide, because if it slides forward then the grate could fall in. So I'm just gonna take these 2 posts and bend them with my thumb so they point forward and basically butt up against the can. So that way it can't slide anywhere. Can't slide forward. Perfect. That's just gonna stay right where we want it. It closes up. And at this point, we should have a pretty functional barbecue. Before we fire this thing up, there is another step I want to take. Give it a nice matte black look. This is not a necessary step. Our other one we didn't paint, we just started cooking on it. It's working just great. We'll give that a couple minutes to dry, reassemble everything, and at that point, it should be good to go. There is one other adaptation we can try. We've done it on that other barbecue, and that's to just take a small drill and drill a couple of holes in there to add a rotisserie hook. We did that on here. It's just a piece of hanger wire that we bent into this shape, and by sliding it into there and then out the other side, you'd have to attach a hot dog here and then slide it on, and then you can just sit there and nicely rotate your hot dog to get a nice even cook. And that'll work just fine with the lid closed as well, keeping all that heat in. All right, this steak has now been resting for longer than it should have, but I think it's time to see how we did. It's a little overdone. To get a less done, you actually need higher heat, because then you can cook the outside faster, inside slower. So I know a lot of you are gonna be mad, like, oh, you overcooked it. It's fine. It is overcooked, but it's actually still really good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, so I had this drilled, which works for getting the spit on, but for getting it off with the food, and you may have seen me struggle to get it on in the first place, I realized there's a much better way to do it. So I'm gonna try and cut a very narrow V channel down to where the hole already is cut. So now you just slide it off like that, and it's way better. You could have the V cut on both sides, but I'm just trying to minimize the extraneous airflow. But now it's so much easier to get on and off. You get to watch me prototype while I'm filming already. Oh, perfect. Oh man, that's good. The less bitty barbecue, using a number 10 can. Maybe some of you out there are quarantined, you can't go anywhere, but you have some supplies. You know, you've got a can of whatever food that you want to open. You've got steak in the freezer, burgers, something you want to cook, but you don't have a grill, you don't want to go out and buy one. Look, you can make one. Yeah, it's required that you have some other hardware and stuff, but the concept is very simple. If you need to adapt it for your use, you can. This works. If you're not quarantined, it's still fun. You can just pick the whole thing up and carry it places. Check this. I'm just gonna take the legs off here. Leg, there we go. Take those off, just toss them inside. Take the whole barbecue with you, easy as that. Fits inside pretty much any backpack ever. Very simple, works great. Guys, that's it for today, but you know we've always got more for you to see. Click the box at the top to check out our most recent video and we'll see you in the next one. Talk to you then.